Have you ever spent all day hanging out with chimpanzees? Well, my name is Maegan Ferguson. I'm a junior majoring in anthropology, and that is exactly what I've been doing for the past few months. Today, I'm going to be talking about the comparative study of agonism and affiliation in captive and wild chimpanzees that I've been conducting this semester. To begin, I'm going to give an overview of some background information that will help us understand what this study is really about. According to a 2005 review article about chimpanzee conflict and cooperation by Muller and Matani, agonism encompasses aggressive behaviors that are related to the maintenance or challenging of an existing dominance hierarchy. According to Muller, Meriwether, and Zhang, in their 2000 article about male chimpanzee affiliation and cooperation, affiliation encompasses behaviors that are related to the formation and maintenance of social bonds. Dominance hierarchies have to do with the social rank that an individual holds, and there can be high, middle, or low-ranking individuals. A dominance rank is an important social determinant for what an individual can and cannot do in their group. This is something that can also be seen in many human cultures, although it tends to be a bit more implicit. In wild chimpanzee societies, sociality is very dynamic, and we see both competition and cooperation among the males. Males will compete with other male group members over dominance rank and access to females for mating. Male group members will also cooperate with one another to defend their territory, resources, and their female group members from other groups. Captive chimpanzees do not have nearly as much competitive pressure as they're provisioned with food, water, and there are no outside groups that pose any threat to them. I tested two hypotheses in this study. I hypothesized that zoo-housed male chimpanzees should engage in more affiliation than agonism, and that the highest-ranking male should engage in more agonism than other individuals. I conducted my research at the North Carolina Zoo, which has two stable social groups. One of them has a single male and multiple females, and the other has multiple males and multiple females. There's a third group that exists to mimic the fission-fusion social structure of wild chimpanzees. I focused my research on the multi-male, multi-female group, which is made up of 3 adult males, 3 adult females, and 1 juvenile male. Within this group, I recorded the behaviors of Jonathan, the highest-ranking male, and Lance, the second highest-ranking male. I collected my data from February to March of this year and conducted 10-minute focal follows during which I closely observed everything each subject did. I recorded observations using all occurrences sampling, in which I recorded each instance the focal individual engaged in a behavior. This is the ethogram that I used to guide my data collection. It shows the behaviors of interest and their definitions, as well as their behavioral categories. I conducted a total of 42 scans, 21 per individual, which is 3.5 hours of observation per individual. The following slides include charts that have been separated into 2 categories for different methods of analysis. First category is based on the number of observations that were recorded for Jonathan, Lance, and their combined total. This chart depicts the frequencies of each affiliative behavior according to their individual total of affiliative behaviors, not the total of all of their behaviors. To further explain this, the red bars denote Jonathan's behaviors. We can see that resting together constitutes 50% of all of Jonathan's recorded affiliative behaviors. This next chart depicts the percentages of each individual's total agonistic behaviors. You can see that for both Jonathan and Lance and their combined totals, aggressively chasing another individual constitutes most of their agonistic behaviors. Something interesting about this is that 2 instances in which Jonathan chased another individual, they were directed at a lower ranking male in what seemed to be an attempt at disciplinary action. This last chart depicts the percentages of each behavior according to the individual's overall totals. We can see that affiliation generally occurs at a higher frequency than the agonism. Now we'll move on to the second analytical category, which is based on the number of focal samples that were conducted. It's important to note that these frequencies do not add up to 100%, as I conducted 10-minute focal follows during which an individual could engage in more than one behavior. This chart depicts the percentage of focal follows each of the behaviors occurred in. As with the earlier charts, we can see that affiliation generally occurs in more samples than agonism does. This next chart, it depicts the percentage of focal follows each behavioral category occurred in. For Jonathan, Lance, and their combined total, affiliation occurs in the vast majority of scans. Overall, affiliation occurred in 71.4% of all of the focal follows, whereas only 40.5% of the focal follows had agonism. So, if we go back to my original hypotheses, I hypothesized that captive male chimpanzees should engage in more affiliation than agonism, and that the highest-ranking male should engage in more agonism than other individuals. I found support for the first hypothesis Affiliation constituted almost 63% of all recorded behaviors, and it occurred in 71.44% of all of the focal voles. I found mixed support for hypothesis 2. Lance engaged in 19 agonistic behaviors, whereas Jonathan engaged in 17, but 43.59% of all of Jonathan's behaviors were agonistic, and only 32.76% of Lance's behaviors were agonistic. This is my bibliography if you would like to look at any of my sources. And I want to thank Dr. Lynch at the zoo and Dr. Eglin for helping me with this project. Thank you so much for listening to me.